The world is a tapestry of shadows and light. We cling to the light, seeking comfort in its familiarity. But deep down, we know the truth. The darkness is always there, lurking just beyond our vision, waiting for its moment to consume us. This is a journey into that darkness, a descent into the heart of our deepest fears, where ancient legends intertwine with modern horrors. We will explore the chilling reality of skinwalkers, those malevolent creatures of Navajo legend that stalk the night. We will confront the unsettling terror that clowns with their painted smiles and empty eyes can evoke. And we will delve into the sterile halls of hospitals where the line between life and death blurs and restless spirits linger. Prepare yourself, for what you're about to read is not for the faint of heart. These are the scariest true horror stories of the year. Stories that will stay with you long after you turn the final page. Stories that will make you question the darkness that surrounds you and the darkness that resides within. In the heart of the Navajo Nation, beneath the unforgiving sun and the vast star-studded sky, whispers a legend as old as time itself. It speaks of the Skinwalkers, malevolent creatures that roam the night cloaked in the skins of animals. They are shapeshifters, witches, the embodiment of evil. The Navajo people, steeped in centuries of tradition and wisdom, treat the Skinwalkers with a fear that borders on reverence. To speak their name aloud is to invite their attention, to draw them closer. But stories persist. Tales whispered around campfires, passed down through generations, each more chilling than the last. Some say the Skinwalkers were once medicine men, their knowledge twisted and corrupted by dark magic. Others believe they are vengeful spirits forever bound to the earthly realm. Whatever their origin, one thing is certain: to encounter a Skinwalker is to invite terror into your life. The reservation is a tapestry of mesas and canyons, painted in hues of red and gold. But as the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the land, a palpable sense of dread settles over the Navajo Nation. This is when the Skinwalkers hunt. There are stories of solitary travelers, their cars breaking down on deserted stretches of highway, only to be stalked by something inhuman, its eyes glowing in the darkness. Ranchers whisper of livestock mutilated with surgical precision, their bodies drained of blood. And families huddled around flickering fires speak in hushed tones of the sounds they hear at night: the eerie howl of a coyote, too close to be natural, the unsettling sound of footsteps padding silently outside their homes. One particular story sends chills down the spines of even the bravest Navajo. It tells of a young couple driving home from a celebration in the next town. As they rounded a bend in the road, their headlights illuminated a figure standing in the middle of the road. It was tall and gaunt, covered in what looked like animal hide. Its eyes, glowing an unnatural yellow, seemed to pierce through the windshield, instilling a primal fear in their hearts. The couple slammed on the brakes, the car skidding to a halt just inches from the creature. For a moment it stared at them, its silence more terrifying than any scream. Then, with a speed that defied logic, it darted into the darkness, disappearing into the night. The couple, shaken to their core, sped away, the image of the creature seared into their minds. These stories, passed down through generations, serve as a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks at the edges of our world. The Skinwalkers are real, and they are waiting. The image of a clown is meant to evoke joy, laughter, and a sense of childlike wonder. But for many, the sight of a clown triggers a primal fear, a deep-seated unease that defies rational explanation. Perhaps it's the painted smiles, frozen in a grotesque parody of happiness, or the eyes, hidden behind layers of makeup, their true intentions obscured. Whatever the reason, there's no denying the unsettling power that clowns hold over our collective psyche. This fear, known as coulrophobia, is more common than you might think. And for some, it's rooted in real-life encounters with clowns that were anything but funny. From the infamous case of John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer who lured his victims while dressed as Pogo the Clown, to the wave of creepy clown sightings that terrorized communities across the globe, clowns have earned their place in the pantheon of horror. The park was deserted. the swings swaying gently in the breeze, their chains creaking a mournful melody. 10-year-old Emily sat alone on a bench, her head buried in her hands. But they were late, again. As darkness began to envelop the park, Emily's anxiety grew. Suddenly she heard a noise. Emily froze, her heart pounding in her chest, and it was accompanied by a low, guttural chuckle. Emily's blood ran cold. She knew that laugh. It was the same laugh she had heard earlier that day, coming from a clown at the park's entrance. Emily scrambled to her feet, her legs trembling beneath her. She had to get out of there. As she reached the gate, she felt a cold hand clamp down on her shoulder. Emily screamed, a primal sound of terror that ripped through the night. Slowly, Emily turned to face her tormentor. Her blood ran cold. It was the clown, and then he began to laugh. Where restless spirits walk among us, seeking solace, or perhaps revenge. Ward 3, the oncology ward. A place where hope battled against despair, where life and death walked hand in hand. It was also a place where the nurses dreaded working the night shift, their unease stemming from the strange occurrences that plagued the ward after hours. It began subtly, objects moving on their own, whispers heard in the dead of night, too faint to decipher. But as the weeks turned into months, the activity intensified. Doors slammed shut without explanation. Lights flickered erratically, and the nurses swore they could feel a cold spot near room 312, the former room of Mrs. Eleanor Vance, a kind elderly woman who had succumbed to cancer after a long and arduous battle. One particularly chilling night, a young nurse named Sarah was making her rounds, her heart pounding in her chest. As she passed by room 312, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. She paused outside the door, her hand hovering over the doorknob. She could have sworn she heard a faint humming coming from inside. Taking a deep breath, Sarah slowly opened the door. The room was dark, except for the faint glow of the moonlight streaming through the window. And then she saw her. Standing by the window, bathed in moonlight, was the unmistakable figure of Mrs. Vance. Her frail hand rested on the windowsill, her head tilted as if she were listening to something beyond the realm of human hearing. Sarah froze, her breath catching in her throat. She wanted to scream, to run, but her legs felt like lead. "Mrs. Vance?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. The figure turned slowly, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and longing, meeting Sarah's. "It's all right, dear," Mrs. Vance's voice, soft as a summer breeze, seemed to echo around Sarah, even though her lips hadn't moved. "I'm not here to harm you. I just want to go home." And then, as quickly as she had appeared, Mrs. Vance vanished, leaving Sarah standing alone in the darkened room, the scent of lavender, Mrs. Vance's favourite scent, lingering in the air. From that night forward, the strange occurrences on Ward 3 ceased. But the legend of Mrs. Vance, the patient who never left, lived on, a chilling reminder that some souls never find peace, even in death. As we emerge from the depths of these terrifying tales, we are left with a lingering sense of unease. The shadows seem darker, the silence more profound. The line between reality and nightmare blurs, leaving us questioning the very nature of fear itself. Are these stories merely figments of our imagination, cautionary tales spun to keep us from venturing too far into the darkness? Or do they hold a grain of truth, a glimpse into a world beyond our comprehension, where ancient evils and modern horrors collide. The answer, my friends, lies within you. Look into your heart, confront your deepest fears, and decide for yourself. But be warned, once you acknowledge the darkness, it never truly goes away. It lingers at the edges of your vision, waiting for the moment to claim you. Sleep tight, and don't forget to check under the bed.